Okay, we begin with the 7-line prayer. Jadul Hanzon de Wan Chembe Ko Namkai Shindu Tuje Chorem Lama Chegen Kula Sewan de Ugen Pema Junela Sewan de Chen Tunge Drube Shinkam Su Kusun Tonda Yenden Chenlek Yeshen Aden de Wara Shembe Ko Tuje Jandra Natso Sosaran Lama Lonchen Zokun La Sewande Ugen Pema June La Sewande Mije Jiten Tabe Shingam Su Tuje Chembo Droven Danlaj Allah Gandul Tapke Droden Zen De Dan Majen Dan De Sum Lama Druben Kula Sewande Ugen Pema June La Sewande Te daramege yondo nawa ye chinai ne chu ngebo tamjenko nayan da ze mebe ngang la sho song zen da ba sen tong la yinko de cha rang drol ge lama la se wan de u gen pe ma june la se wan de da na we yondo dramba ye nen dai men nen zembe dranam Janton samno treve ngang la sho Janton ke gai me bai ge we song Janton ge we song lai se wan de u gen pe ma june la se wan de tara yi ke yun du chua yi nyen mo dung e to ba che shara ngen su che che lo ye che me shu chua rang sara chang pe che kor Rigpa Randrol Ge Lama La Sewande Ugen Pema June La Sewande Chitara Zunwe Yunna Damba Dan Nandara Zembe Semne Drolwa Badu Se Rango Sheba Ru De Sum De Shen Namke Toje Dade Ranju Drowara Jenge Lo Ngonse rezen yuden dorjen ze maon de shem ban taye shab da tai pe jon gyal sab drobeng jigdre yeshe dorjen la se wan de sangye kunye chime pe maj shingde drube zal zen long chen jen kangi yang se chenle norbo se wan de so drame jenge lo Choge lama namge gel sam tu wangro lonzen chome jenden Bebe nel joro kunban zo shenpan sange donje shabla sewante. Ome chege yenge podran du sum sange kunge ngon. Rangsem chego ngon sum tenze ban tsawe lame shabla sewante. Nelo tobai ke wara jenge lo. Okay, page 60. The 7-branch prayer. Dorjin lomben zangen ben de zum jun lai chanzen lo chonzun dembe jing juro lai ni me yike jam su che. Ngöndro yike nam zhu be dan be chen bai Jesus. Ngondro chubu che be ge ne je ma lu shamparang. Choju korosum dan be che ma cha che lai je ye. Dan ben Tashi Drima me zon ben jang chu sem ken to. De shen wang chu sem ba lan dan ba sum ge lun bel. Tsera dran ben ge wan nam de de jang chu cho to. Mandala offering. Sa jin ben jun jun jin men don tram re ra ling jen nin den gen ban. Sangye Shingdu Mikde Pulwa Yi Rokun Namdai Shinglai Jemparash Idam Guru Ratna Mandala Kam Niryanta Yami. Prayers requesting the teachings. Semchen Namge Sambai Dan Lo Yen Jendra Jenta War Chechun Tunmon Tempa Yi Chege Korolo Korodo San. Nangzi Namdar Anjin Lunju Pe Tashi Chukchu Jingna Chukpai Sangye Chudang Gendun Pakpe So Kunla Chaksal Daktak Chachi Shok Junme Galpo Sultan Dundup Gong Jampe Gipala Gajal Pavadampa Kunla Gumpa Gachere Jakpa Chen Lumpo Tarpak Saljak Paldang Samchem Tamche Lagong Jakpe Pal Yesim Zipa Salrab Drapal Te Simsam Tope Tashi Pepelwa Te Water Shepa Gila Chaksalo Jampel Jenu Palden Drche Zin Chenre Ziwang Gumpo Jampe Pal Sayi Ningpo Jipa Namparasel Namke Nimpo Pacho Kuntu Sang Mutpal Dorje Pekar Lushing Dang Nordbu Dawar Aldri Nimayi Chaksen Leknam Tashi Pilgi Chok Janchup Simpa Gila Chaksal Rinshen Duchok Tashi Serginia Dudjom Bumzong Yingong Kamala Nyendrak Tamdram Patok Palbeyu Mirdu Gubsen Wanjur Kolote Rinshen Duchok Turki Takshen Chen Chodu Galwa Chochin Gike Magiso Ngo Jinpel Pepel We Tashi Lamo Gela Chaksalo Tsangpa Chinpo De Jung Semebu Miktong De Dangal Po Yokorsung Hake Podang Pulogwang Big Beer Zang Hoteli Chote Lerze Kolo Dang Trishu La Dang Dundung Doche Piwam Raldre Chochen Gilsen Zin Sasum Nisu Gile Tashi Pel Chaten Jingwa Chua Chaksalo Tachag Dindir Jawa Sumpala Gedang Dewa Tawa Gunjine Tadin Papel Sentin Jinju Tashi Dele Unsum Sok Parasho Kwanzang Dosum Garab Shadi Sang Padma Kara Jabang Nishuna So Zur Nubnak Terton Gasa So Kater Lama Namla Zulwa De Zamling Zepe Genju Tunidang Tuje Tulungtuk Nampe Tungayang Naktro Dampar Bepe Turuki Korde Chukor Tupe Longchempa
me oze japlas ulwade semdine lok tok patter jingi lo kui gelsen am chul dak portrol riwo shentong kumparong chol tonuk nik me luchen dulne dun zed tuk karmaling patter solwade Sheja kunken jula jitse terji meo se young chul terza. Ese longcheng nam jay nelger pa jigme pe japla selwa de. Dusum kunken pema jungne je zapte rekwa ngaso koloj. Sange ling pe young chul bishul chang kunzan chen ben japla julwa de. Pakpa jigten wanchuk tu je chul jowa tarling jope de. Julselde din longchen eljurapa jigme gilwe nyerge selwa de. Jampel jinla bime nambar chul gilse haje yangsi chisumpa. Kaba bluden pema dunga ling jamyang gense wangpur solwa de. Chitar gilwe sepo jiwa la nangtar jupe wangshuk shawari. Sanwak pachok dung elwa jono jigme choki wangpor solwade. Dabe jenche janchup semcho jong kezo tarchin kore erme tok. Chose choko koe gompa chuptanok tempi nime japla solwade. Dusum gelwe chabdag dorje sem yeshe gyume gardo bima. Yerme zen aki wangpo zap solwa dipsol do solwa dipsol dun gu gopas lume kwonchok sungi ngwani kusum gelwa geso chi zujok kamsum choki galpo zochempa dudjom lingpe japla solwa dip korde daknyam runi rularu tokjol jonjor Sangye ju parasho chogi lama namki gyalsab ju wangur loju jin cho me jin cho pepe nelja kumpan jo shempa sangye dorje japla solwa de sacho kil korno jo bimala kunzan jo kue tumpa lonchen pa yerme rigzen yerme naki wangpur solwa de Tui irme dre para jengi lo cho gue du paro ro nom ngang du ji glo jeri mo kara kinsuyel zopa chempo ne loka ngong sum ji luntok tempi ni mar solwa de sum galwa kungi sheku pochen dorje kune bima Yeshe gyume garken naki wang pema ledrel sala zulwa de. Rigzen chinpo jingme lampa yi zapte rakpa ngasa kolojer. Samye guchuljer we rolmoche pelchen dupa sala zulwa de. Gyalkun kense rangjuk jampe pal niktur mi kargi garapa. Sangsum dorje jupe lama chok tupten choki dawater selwa de Nechen riwo se de shingam su jampel tuki jinla yi lamen jikpe punsok shapla sawa de kungu tokpa po water jingi lo Gyalkun tuje yeshe chidu juk Mejong keni jinla chogiter. Soni getso japla sulwa dep. Daka gu jin la lopa kuraji nong jursho. Sagwe lame dendir shisu sol. Lame kusun tukla chaksal jogong rangjong yeshe nila tuk. Anam tupten japla zulwadep chunni ngangye tuje angang oshe semni ngowo tokparer jingi lo marsem dumeshi meit parol shin makeb kaka namne ke noni sosorang rigeshe shul lulwa dusungalwe yublazulwade. Seden kenki kenrap zergi daglo timuk munpavarsalne kadang nyama chu luka tukpai lojo pope nangwa seldu so marapachanadi di Yunten sangye kundang nyamna yang kajun sangye kunle lakwe. Sawe la me japla zalwa depne lok to parake water jingi lo. Palden sawe la ma rimpo che daki chiwo peme denjula. Kajun chinpo gone jizunte kusun tuki ngajup saldu so. Dusum sangye tamche ki ngawo yoshi daka nyal palden lama dampa la sulwa de tala wangkur jigi laptusol. Salam gi topa ke para chingyu la ke wara jigi laptusol. Karak ne luk tikita wa to para jigi laptusol. Shunjub nang shi she tarchin par jigi laptusol. Dine zunte jangchup ningpo bara pelgon lama namki tujei. Dorje tekpe ring lukman orbe chudang lama dam parajal vaisho. Kewa kuntu yang dak lama dang jalme choki balalon chojing. Sadam nangi yunten rabzone. Dorje changi gopang no top show. Kanam adjusim chim tam cheki dun du tuk jan chuk chir sem ke parze. So please kindly adjust your motivation to that of the Bodhisattva in order to listen to every Dharma teaching so that we may attain Buddhahood in this life and thereby be able to liberate all sentient beings who have been our kind parents for countless lifetimes. So, good evening. Thank you, Kimpala. One of the problems of monasticism in the West is that there's no traditional shedra for students, particularly for monastics, who have to go about from here and there to continue their training. And we train all the way until the moment that we die. Was listening to our chanting here in this room, and in this room there have been many great masters who have blessed it with their presence. And today I'm here to talk about the 4 thoughts that turn the mind to the Dharma. If you want to look at the Dudjom Tersar version, I'm using a different text, but they're the same. It's near, it's just before the refuge prayer. So when you listen to a room like this, a room filled with 500 people, or I was in a room in France this summer with 850 people, and you have the good fortune to have met and authentic teacher. I'm not a teacher, I'm just learning the outline. When you have the good fortune to meet an authentic teacher, it is a cause for rejoicing. And I think it took me quite a long time to understand that you have a different tree, but they're the same in essence. That the Longchen Nintik Ngöndro, revealed by Kunken Jimmy Lingpa, contains everything that we need for liberation in this lifetime. And even after going through a traditional Ngöndro, 100,000 accumulations of each of the sections, somehow we feel dissatisfied when that's over, versus the honeymoon period. And then you feel dissatisfied and you wonder what's gone wrong. The great master, His Holiness Dilgo Khyentse Rinpoche, is said to have done this Ngöndro at least 3 times in his life. And when I hear people complaining about doing Ngöndro, I just smile and think about, I think on the last day when he died, he was reciting the Longchen Nintik Ngöndro. But there is a, like a key has crooks and curves in it. And those crooks and curves, when it goes into the keyhole, and everything is in the right place, the door will unlock, And these forethoughts that turn the mind to the Dharma are like that keyhole. And it's not like we contemplate, okay, I get it. Nobody wants suffering. Move on to refuge. I'm worried about frustrations. It's not like that. And as a matter of fact, this text, I'll read you the version that I had. I think this was condensed later on by Jamin Khyentse Wangpo. So there's the text for that's similar to yours says Diljernit ka tapadaritsam mirchak chiwanaong chamachi korwa gandu kyang dukungelgu gedik ledri deduk luame tarlam topalame tujezo. So I'll just read you an adjusted translation. Human birth, so precious, with its freedoms and endowments, may be obtained but once, but it is so rare to find. Life is impermanent. The time of death is uncertain. Suffering is certain in whatever realm within samsara we take birth. Joy and sorrow are the inevitable results of virtuous or non-virtuous actions. Embraced by the Lama's compassion, the path to liberation is seized. His Holiness the Dalai Lama famously says, one thing that every single human being on this planet has in common is that we want to be happy. And and to reflect on these four thoughts is called analytical meditation when you do this in accumulation style in a retreat. I think you could even Jigme Lingpa's text is so graphic. Just spending 5 days on meditating on the hell realms can bring shivers down your spine. So wherever we are in our Ngöndro, or if you finish Ngöndro, or if we intend to do another Ngöndro after this, or we aspire to do other practices, that belong to higher yanas, this is still a very useful practice. As a matter of fact, it got me through the isolation of the time that we were in lockdown during COVID. So what I'd like to do is just give a general reminder and to walk you through what a meditation on the four thoughts that turn the mind to the Dharma. You can adapt this to your own Ngöndro. You could adapt this to include this in your practice, but it's also a very standalone practice. You can do this any time of the day if you're on the bus. And I was talking about that keyhole. The reason why this text to me is so precious, and you can read so many marvelous metaphors and teachings in Patrul Rinpoche's Words of My Perfect Teacher, and the Lejong by Khenpo Nakchong commentary on the Words of My Perfect Teacher. You can read this and have an intellectual knowledge, but until you make it personal, it doesn't unlock the key to the next thing. And the next thing is that we have obtained these freedoms and advantages by seizing the Dharma through meeting an authentic teacher, which will allow us to progress along the path that always begins with bodhicitta. Another way to say that is that these four thoughts, in whatever format you have, these four thoughts that turn the mind to the Dharma, is like watering a plant, or watering many plants with a what do you call this thing that has water that pours out of it? Pitcher. Water, a plant. Pitcher. Sprinkler. a sprinkler pitcher. It's like it unlocks our tight grasp of self. Because, of course, bodhicitta does not, ultimately, there is no self involved, does not exist. Just rest with that for a second. Kepasonam, many years ago, in one class, famously in terms of how it struck me, and I never forgot it, famously said to us, the biggest lie ever told is that there is a personal self. And this is the thing that we're trying to unlock. And the fertilizer or the water for it is the forethoughts that turn the mind to the Dharma. Then you can take refuge, and then you can cultivate bodhicitta even more, do your accumulations, and then you can do mandala offerings to the Lama and do your Vajrasattva. Everything else hinges upon this. So we're going to do this in sort of an abbreviated retreat style. That is, you take your time, you take the time that you set aside for your meditation or for your session, your morning session, your evening session, your late morning session, and your early afternoon session. And you divide that time part of it, the first part, when you begin, and you should have Patrol Brochet's words of my perfect teacher, by your side to guide you. So, to do the analytical meditation, as I was taught by my teacher Kopasonam, you have to make it real. You have to make it personal. You have to. We have had the good fortune to meet the three jewels in this lifetime, and we have no guarantee that in the next lifetime we will. Practicing as if our hair was on fire is one of the metaphors that it's commonly used. For the first thought, traditional metaphor is the gigantic sea turtle who is blind, swimming a vast ocean, and the chances of, when it comes up for air, that its head will poke out into a yolk. That's how rare it is to find human birth. So take a look at your text. Someone read the English translation Kepo gave us loudly.
From the beginning?
Just, where it says Namo in English.
Homage, Lama infallible, constant protector, please think of me. The freedoms and endowments of this precious human birth are extremely difficult to find. Whoever is born is subject to change and death. The causes and result of virtuous and non-virtuous actions are infallible. The continuous state of the three realms of samsara is an ocean of suffering. By remembering this, may my mind turn to the holy Dharma.
So, the only difference between that version and the one that the condensed, the Lama's assistance at the beginning rather than at the end. So this one again is, may all sentient a human birth so precious with its freedoms and endowments may be obtained but once, but it is so rare to find. Life is impermanent. The time of death is uncertain. Suffering is certain in whatever realm within cyclic existence we take birth. Joy and sorrow are the inevitable results of virtuous or non-virtuous actions. Embraced by the Lama's compassion, the path to liberation is seized. And so then it's actually more than 4 thoughts, isn't it? There's one more thought, which is that we have met the Dharma, and you can only meet the Dharma through having the fortune to meet an authentic teacher. So you divide your session, you run through your prayers. I arrange, I'm constantly rearranging prayers because every time I receive new teachings from other lamas, I want to include them because of the connections that I make with them. So my supplication prayers are always. I encourage you to write your supplication prayers and to make it personal. The people who were the first teachers we all had were our parents, who taught us kindness, that led us eventually along the path to be here in this place right now. In this place there is no suffering. It is akanishta, because the perfect teacher is here. This is the perfect time. This is the perfect place, the perfect teaching, and so on. So all of those meditations come on later on, but let's just do the meditation of each of the 4 thoughts. And so I'll read it, this version in English, and you allow your mind to explore your own personal experience. What brought you to human birth? That's and how precious it is, and to whom do we owe that good fortune? As it says in the beginning of the 37 practices of a bodhisattva, this boat, so rare to find, this leisure and fortune that we have. We should not waste it. So what we'll do is I'll read the first of my version of the 4 thoughts, and then you do the analytical meditation. You think about your life, what brought you here, and so forth. But I want you to pause, because if you think and think and think and think and think, it could lead you down to planning your vacation in Cancun. If you're not careful, and I'm speaking from personal experience, is that you may come up with a wonderful realization, and then the next thing you know, you're buying your ticket to Mexico. So you must think of your parents and the preciousness of human birth, but then stop and rest the mind. Then resume, and then rest the mind. Resume and rest the mind. And so whatever time you have allotted, say, in retreat, you might have 1 hour for that section. So you could do that for 30 minutes. And then the next 30 minutes of that hour would be just resting in spacious awareness. So 2 parts: the analytical meditation, making it personal, and then making sure to stop every now and then and rest the mind so it doesn't go, so that the horse doesn't run off. And then I'll ring a bell, this little tingsha here, and then we'll rest. So maybe 5 minutes analytical meditation, 5 minutes of just resting in spacious awareness. So you know all these, if you've read Words of My Perfect Teacher, or even if you haven't, something brought you here to Lunjib Choling and to study with Kempa Sunam, and the fruition of this, we will end with the aspiration, the 4-line aspiration of bodhicitta, we all being have happiness, and the causes of happiness, and so forth. So this is to increase our bodhicitta, okay? Deljor nidka tupadaritsam. Human birth, so precious, with its freedoms and endowments, may be obtained but once, but it is so rare to find. We can think of how many times people come to the Dharma just to solve their own suffering, rather than to become a Buddha in order to help sentient beings. We get it wrong. Here in the West, there are many psychological approaches to family, living with family, isolating from family. When you think about the opportunity we have in our hands, slowly, all of that anxiety may diminish. We'll see how much we have to do to repay the kindness of our parents, the kindness of our mother for bringing us into this world. To both of them for raising us, or whoever it was that raised you. Just rest the mind, relax the mind. So the second thought Mirtakchiwa nam on chamachi. Life is impermanent. The time of death is uncertain. As you draw on your experience of life, in our Sangha, we lost our dear beloved sister who was there always smiling to welcome all of us when we first came. So the same thing, the analytical meditation, drawing on your own experience of impermanence and your conduct and your practice. Is our conduct and our practice such that if I die in my sleep tonight, I will have put my whole being into, I would have practiced like my hair was on fire. And where have we failed? Sometimes this goes on for decades. So let's meditate on impermanence, the uncertainty of the time of death. Make your analytical meditation impermanent also. Don't try to figure out something. Don't try to come to a conclusion or a reason. Just think of the vast array of your own experience. And then pause and continue. always making plans. One of my favorite stories Kempo has told is the story of the greedy man who was accumulating his wealth bit by bit, gold dust. And after having accumulated so much wealth, went about to think how he's going to spend it, but where he stored his gold so no one would steal it was on a rope hanging above his bed. But what he did not know was that at night time some rats were coming and eating at that rope. And eventually that rope broke and the man never got to spend all of that money because he died. Just relax the mind. Korwa gangdu kikyang dukngalgu. Suffering is certain in whatever realm within cyclic existence we take a birth. This one in the launching into Ngöndro that Kempo designed based on Kempo Nakchung's 100-day Lojong retreat. You spend a lot of time reflecting on suffering and the causes of suffering. the first things Buddha said when he agreed to teach. Was no suffering. No suffering. Not N-O, but K-N-O-W. When we know suffering well, we'll know the root of that suffering. We might be able to remove it. In the different jnanas and the different systems, suffering is classified in not graduate or of anything except my own practice, not in any shedra. But I do remember that you can talk about that human birth, by definition, has the sufferings of birth, old age, sickness, and death. There's the suffering of not getting what we want, dissatisfaction. The suffering of getting what we want, what we aspired for, that toy, and then it just lies on the ground, unused. And the futility of all that energy wasted. And there's the suffering of suffering. You know how to do this. So let's do the analytical meditation on this third line. There's the suffering of the 8 worldly dharmas. You know them. Fame, gain, joy, pain. if you do this 100-day mind training retreat I mentioned that is described at the end of Khenpo Nakchug's commentary on Words of My Perfect Teacher. This is the schedule, the outline calendar that our teacher Khenpo has actually put together. You just like arrive in your retreat place, and then here's the first meditation. You do this for 3 days, and so on and so forth. You ask him for that, and you have the fortune to do a retreat like this. You're going to reflect on sort of a theoretical meditation, the horrors of being in the Preta realm, the horrors of being in the hell realms, the hot hell realms, and the cold hell realms. And each of these aid us in the next thought, which is our virtuous and unvirtuous karma. So this meditation on suffering can go on forever, so let's just end that and just let the mind relax. You prepare to go on long retreat. You make this aspiration. It starts. Deep retreat is so powerful, and it just starts with an aspiration. You don't have to figure anything out. And the causes and conditions will come. And when I went on retreat to do this mind training retreat that I was telling you about, that Khenpo designed based on Khenpo Nakchung's outline. I remember one thing Khenpo said to me was, work backwards and figure out what you need, how much food you need, your basic clothing, what is the temperature going to be, and make a list. Bring your medications and so forth. And when I completed, I don't know, it was probably day 50, when I completed the mind training on suffering, I heard him say, bring your medicines. I said, I forgot to ask my doctor for some Xanax. That was pretty intense. So the next meditation is, or the next line, these are all connected. So in this version says, Gedik leje de duk luame. Joy and sorrow. This is my translation. Joy and sorrow are the inevitable results of virtuous and non-virtuous actions. Famous saying that if you want to know what your last lifetime was like, look at your present life now and the conditions. And if you want to know what your next lifetime is going to be like, look at what you're doing in the present conditions of this lifetime. You know, we could speculate and get to academic about what is karma, but I think that's the simplest way to think about it in this setting, and this can be a very quick thing, like if you have a long trip on a bus. But this says it all. You don't have to go, and you can read what Pater Rocher wrote about this. You read what Kempenakchen wrote about this. But this summarizes it all. So let's reflect on our personal life. Joy and sorrow are the inevitable results of virtuous and non-virtuous actions. on the full moon day, it's very good to add to your practice or to make part of your, even before you go to bed. It doesn't have to be the full moon day either, but traditionally to perform sojang or confession practice, you can read the last writing that Dudjom Rinpoche wrote, which was basically a sojang reflection prayer, or any of the inexpressible absolute confession, but not just read it through, thinking about your own conduct over the last 4 weeks and how it conforms to the Dharma. So just relax for a second. And then we come to this last line. So it's really not just the forethoughts that turn the mind to the Dharma. There's part of that key I was talking about that has a specific spike in order to turn the knob to unlock the door. That part of that key is being at the feet of an authentic teacher, and how blessed, how fortunate, how we should rejoice. Pater Rinpoche talks about all of the things we should be doing once we've met an authentic teacher. And sometimes I get sad when I see Western practitioners attend big retreats and never having read the suggestions by Pater Rinpoche. That makes me quite sad. So this says, Taralam, lam is path. Taralam topa lame tuk jezong. And I translate it as embraced by the Lama's compassion. Has any Lama, authentic Lama, told you to go out of that door when you first arrived? To contemplate on the compassion of the Lama. You look back 5 years ago, 6 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, and you think about, oh, remember that question I asked, and now I see how kind that Lama was with his response to me. That, it was such a stupid question. How kind. And I've been in rooms too where during teachings at the most inappropriate time, somebody who may not have had the same training that we go through kind of blurts out an inappropriate question. It's off topic, or it's We've already passed it. You know what I'm talking about. And instead of putting the person aside, that Lama gave like the most powerful teaching. And I remember it was during the Ntikyapshi. And somebody who was disturbed asked a question in the wrong time. And Tokusanak Rinpoche took the opportunity, and everybody was rolling their eyes and going, oh no. So, the last little section of these four thoughts that turn to mind towards the Dharma is our relationship with our teachers. For 6 years, I've been assembling new books, adding more names into supplications. When you receive certain teachings and it touches your heart in such a way and opens up the door to liberation, but the door to understanding first, you have no choice but to be grateful to that Lama, whoever she or he is. And we just meditated on our positive and negative actions, and how little opportunities do we take, how few opportunities are there that we show our appreciation genuinely to the authentic teacher who is giving us these teachings. You're accumulating the Dudjom Tersar short Ngöndro, and it's just very related to it's in essence the same as the Longching Ngöndro. Every word So let's just take an informal moment now and think of some gratitude to our teachers, the causes and conditions that allowed us to meet them, and our conduct in their presence. And so, unless you're doing this in accumulation in long retreat, you can end this with of course, by distributing the merit. But before you do that, while these feelings are still fresh and real, if you've made it real to like the choices you've made in your life, the mistakes we've made, and the triumphs we've had, and the people to whom we've shown our gratitude for the causes and conditions from the beginning of life to this point right now in this room, then you say the 4 lines of the developing bodhicitta. So I'll read it in Tibetan and then in English. I ask you to repeat if you can, if you remember. You don't have it in front of you, I'm sorry. It's very good to learn. It's in the beginning of your Chenrezi book, if you have a copy of that. So I ask you to feel what the contemplation, the analytical meditation we went through. After time, you can do it in a flash. You can go through these 4 meditations, analytical meditations, very quickly in a flash. But start slow and take breaks and rest the mind. Otherwise, you'll go crazy. Sem chem tam che de wa dang de we gyudang den parajur shik. May all sentient beings have happiness in the cause of happiness. Everyone. May all sentient beings have happiness in the cause of happiness. Duk ngal dang gi gudang jelwar jushik. May they be free of suffering in the cause of suffering. May they be free of suffering in the cause of suffering. Duk ngal me pe de wa dang berdrel wat jushik. May they never part from the happiness that is untainted by sorrow. May they never part from the happiness that is untainted by sorrow. Niring chadang dang drilpe tang yom seme pala nepar George Sheik. And may they rest in boundless equanimity, free from the partiality of attachment and aversion to all, whether near or far. May they rest in boundless equanimity, free from partiality of attachment and aversion to all, whether near or far. So that's developing the loving kindness, compassion, sympathetic joy, and equanimity that we wish for ourselves, first by thinking of others. And that thinking of others will grow and grow. And then our practice will become very powerful. Let's dedicate the merit.
Page 63.
Sanam Yi Tamche Zigpan.
Your virtual page is 144.
144.
Those online.
Sunam Di Tamche Zigpani Tokne Nepe Dranam Pamche Shinkega Nachi Balong Jupai Sipe Sole Jawar Shro Champel Pao Jitarakin Pada Kuntu Zangpo De Yang De Jinte De Dagungi Jesu Dalo Kiwa Di Dag Tamche Reptung O Dusum Shike Gelwa Tamche Owa Gangla Chuktung Apat Kaki Gewe Sawadi Kung Kang Zampo Chachira ORG Janchup Simchorium Poch Make Panam Kijurshik Kipanyampa Me Payang Gongne Gondu Pelwarisho Chup Simpa Medrojing Jam Chup Shilajo Pa Samge Amki Ongzung Duki the Imam Pungwarisho Janchup Simdang Rajaj Bodhi Gangompa Semchem dam la de jusho, semchem tam che girion de jush. Ngöndro tam che tatu to parsho. Jupsa jupa de da kungi manala juparsho. Iki wakum sonam yeshe sosush. Sonam yeshe so the fakuni da parsho. Vinshingi sok de yuwak. Tatu rampe chudang rajajing rangjin dani jatpat chijini. Chuna tu pejik tenzi parasho ne vajay padadal jirshik. Serab kuntu terja the jirshik. Jokun kundu Tashi ge jirshik. Jokun tamsi change to parasho. Kunkam sorwa zerwa dip. Choku chusering waters sorwa dip. Trinle Darjinge Parasawade Duma Dumdrelwa Me Parjinge Ugepe Pewadam Che Du Turi and Dend Parsho Natu Turchang de Jershi Chori Dure Wang Yo Parsho Yang Madam Pade Jishing de Do to Lacha Parsho Tunining Po Jupte Tidir Sipe Galzo Warsho Sipe Sampe Cherab de Jijing Jinpem de Blacho Tone Parsho Labde Jade Dore Pai Tamche Chamchik Sange To Parsho Chochuli Yanike Korashing Chotu Nanchu Pop Rabdo Dagishing Sange Tarjara Jinge Parasho Lung Riktope Mishe Dirbejo Enak Sampe Krisamanachum Gomjum Yiki Yopishin Shirab Sungi Namage Parasho Sum lana chukunang kudan yeshiro pa the plepe zabsang ninjor chenpunim Yerme chuki to gile shoke wakuntu yanta lamada Drelme chuki pella lanchoching Sadang lamgi inten rabzon Duhamda dame gopano top show. Can I make a quick announcement? If you can come to Chinrezi practice tomorrow, 6 p.m. I think Chinrezi is 6 p.m. It's Seren's birthday, and we're bringing cake. So if your friend isn't here today, you can text somebody that wasn't here today. Please. Barbara's arranging the cake. So, may I offer, since I have the microphone, offer a melody of the last chant that came to my mind in my Drukshad retreat. So you should be able to catch on to this. It just came to me. Everybody knows the normal melody. Om, Om. So this is a little different. Om Ahum Benza Guru Pema Siri Benzar Guru Emma Siri it just repeats. Om Aung Benzar Guru Hema Siddhi Om Aum Benzar Guru Bema
Thank you. Thank you everybody for joining. Stay well. Touch the Delek. Bye bye.